Dear listeners, good morning and welcome to Comdarchi, the podcast that opens the doors to the fascinating world of architecture. For newcomers, let me introduce myself. I'm the spokesperson of Anne-Charlotte Despons, PhD in History of Architecture, published author, head of a communication and development agency based in Paris, France, dedicated to architecture. Let's meet every week to discuss culture and architecture with specialists and learn how to look at projects through a context and diversity lens. Thank you for being with me today, and now it's time for talent.
Bienvenue dans Comdarchi.
Hello to everyone. Good afternoon, Manuelle Gautrand.
Good afternoon, Anne-Charlotte.
Thank you for joining us today. You are a well-known architect in France and abroad. In 2 or 3 sentences, could you introduce us to your architectural practice?
Yes, we have a practice which tries to be, for each project, very innovative and we try to offer unexpected answers. We give us always a goal to be both contextual, innovative, to be sensitive, to be in the same time scientific, because we have always a lot of researchers in terms of materialities, of environmental goals and sustainable goals. We also try not to be specialized. We love to work on very different types of projects, also of cities, big cities, small cities, but we love to not to be specialized because it's very important to change, to have the feeling to begin each project like a white page. So we have made a lot of cultural programs, housings, offices, civic buildings, and
All over the world?
Not all over the world. Of course, our main activity is in France, but we like a lot of the fact that we have some projects abroad. One is in Sweden, the other is in Israel. It's a cultural equipment dedicated to theater, to music and dance. And we also have a project which is during the phase under construction currently in Australia, in Parramatta, which is part of the great district of Sydney.
Yes. Can you tell us about this project, Parramatta in Australia?
Yes, this one is unfortunately I'm not able to visit the construction site, but we won the competition a few years ago in 2016, and we have made all the studies. The phase under construction has begun during the last spring, so 2020. And the end of this construction phase will be next spring. So we are close to the end, and I follow the site construction, and I'm close to the team, which is in Australia currently, to do a sort of very precise and deep follow-up. The project is interesting because the program is beautiful. It is both the extension, the refurbishment of the town hall, the extension of it, and also the creation of a big public library. So it is a civic building which is wrapping a lot of programs. For example, we will welcome the council chamber, the new council chamber, a lot of offices for the politicians, the big public library, exhibition places. We have a cafe, a restaurant, a ground floor, which is a platform dedicated to all users and to all the citizens in Parramatta. And yes, I like a lot the program because it's a way to mix a cultural facility with also a civic facility. And it will encourage the inhabitants of the Great Sydney to visit the politicians and to participate to the goal and the politic of the city of Parramatta. So I'm very happy for this program. And the thing which is also very interesting for me in this project, it is the fact that we are in the center of Parramatta, close to a square, which will be the main square of Parramatta. And due to the program, the building will begin the emblem of Parramatta. And because Parramatta has not a really very old city center, we don't have any regulation concerning the alignments, the shape of the building regarding the context and the neighbors. We have a set of constraints which are in a way much more interesting because we have modelized and we have sculpted the whole volume of the project regarding the sun course with the question of the sun course, because the goal was to allow a lot of sun on the square, which is facing the building. And the square has to keep sunny and, yes, with a lot of natural light all over the year. So we have sculpted the volume with the sun course. And the result is something which is totally unexpected. It's sort of triangular shape, which avoids all over the envelope the sun, which is passing through above the project. And at the end, this volumetry is really interesting because this triangular shape gives us a lot of square meters on the ground floor and on the first levels, and more you are going up, more the levels are smaller. So on the ground floor, you have a sort of platform, a lot of square meters, a place where everybody can meet, can have a lunch, can take a book. And after that, you enter on the first, second, and third floor in the library itself. But in the third floor, the library begins to be mixed with offices dedicated to the politicians. So you have progressively this mix between a cultural equipment and an equipment which is dedicated to politicians, but where the inhabitants are more than welcome. And this progression of big floors becoming more and more smaller floors allows also to take into account the question of the noise. On the lower levels, it will be noisy, of course, because everybody can meet and move and walk. But more you are going up, more the place will become smaller, more dedicated to small meeting rooms, to offices. So you have also a progression between noisy and welcoming places to more intimate and calm spaces on the top of the building.
Okay. And what about materials?
The materials are fully guided by the sustainable questions. Progressively, between the competition phase and now, we have increased a lot our ambitions in terms of sustainability. There is a sort of regulation in Australia, which gives you a number of stars. And the maximum is 7 stars, so we are on the top level of ambition. During the competition, we got only 5 stars, and we have developed all the studies to become at the top level of the sustainability. So one of the goals has been to protect the whole building from the sun, because Parramatta is on the west part of Sydney, in the beginning of the countryside. The temperature during the summer is very hot. It's approximately 45, even 48. So we had to consider the envelope has really a strong protection facing the sun, facing the weather. You have also a very disturbed with cyclones, hurricanes. And one of the first goals, yes, was to protect the interior of the building from all the sun. So the sun is not allowed nowhere in the building, the direct ray of the sun, which means that we have sculpted the envelope with panels, and each panel has a window, a small window, which is successively facing southwest and southeast, orientations where you don't have any sun. So the envelope is both very strong, filtering the natural light, without allowing the sun inside the building. So it was a lot of studies.
You have light but no sun.
Exactly. Light but no sun, a strong natural ventilation to minimize as much as possible all the air conditioning. We still get air conditioning, of course, but we have minimized a lot. And to finish with this project, we had also a urban goal, which was to stack all the levels like a stage facing the square. So the constraint of the sun course was really helpful to respect the program, but also to create the whole project as a sort of theater. It's like a number of balconies which are facing the square like a huge stage. So there is a sort of very deep relationship between our building and the public space which is facing us. It's like a little bit Beaubourg, the Centre Georges Pompidou, where the Parvis, the square, is really a sort of place which emphasizes the entrances of Beaubourg and the facade of Beaubourg. We are in this same time of relationship.
The famous piazza.
Yes, the famous piazza. Yeah. So everybody is welcome in April 2022 for the opening of the building.
Yes.
I hope I will be able to travel and to be there.
It will be not very easy to manage during the COVID.
It was absolutely not easy. It was a big frustration for me because I always love to visit the phase under constructions, to be close to the contractor, to be close to the local teams because they are working a lot and I help them as much as possible. But the distance is not helping. Fortunately, with the Anglo-Saxon way of doing architectural studies, we have developed very detailed studies during the study stages. We have made all the details, even the construction details were made before the bid. So everything is drawn and detailed, but you have always unexpected things and it's not so easy to
control.
To control and also to help.
Yes. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Anne-Charlotte. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye, everyone, and see you next Wednesday for our new comdarchi in English. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to tune in to our previous content on Instagram at comdarchipodcast. If you like it, make sure to promote the podcast by giving it 5 stars on Apple Podcast and adding a comment, or on any of your favorite podcast platforms. And don't forget to subscribe and listen to all of our episodes for free. See you soon, and until then, take care of yourself.